There's been times in my life where it feels like everything's falling apart. Um, Things have been just crumbling around me. And whilst meditation didn't solve those problems, it did give me the tools I needed to survive them. And that's what this video is going to be about today. So if you feel like things are getting a bit on top of you, a little bit of overwhelm, then stick around to find out what I did to help me through it. I've been through grief and sickness, divorce, challenges of single parenting. All of these things work, let's not forget. I don't say that to be dramatic, but rather just to let you know that this channel is about everyday meditators. We're not living in a monastery, we're living in the quote unquote real world. And part of that comes with stress. We all love people, and people pass away, people leave, and that can give us a lot of stress. And it can feel quite overwhelming in the mind. At the time, my mind was very cluttered. Meditation was a tool that I went to. I wasn't looking for enlightenment, but rather just a way to cope, a way to quiet the voices down in my head, to quiet the thoughts, to regulate my emotions a little better. At the time, my mind was loud, my body was tense, and I was constantly on edge. But what meditation did was give me a space, a practice, somewhere to go that I could access at any time, that would be a home, somewhere for me to park myself in this very, very stressful year, in this time, well, it was more than a year actually, but in these very stressful times. What meditation gave me wasn't a completely quiet mind, but it gave me space to breathe, space between the thoughts, feeling the earth beneath your feet as you walk, listening to the sounds all around us. I'm in a beautiful forest here, it's lovely. Wherever we are, I've done meditations in busy hotels, railway stations, wherever. Because we're not trying to change anything, we're not trying to create a perfect world for us to live in, up a mountain, surrounded with chanting. We live in the real world. But a lot of the time, the world that I was living in wasn't the real world. It was a world of my thoughts, the world of my fears. And that wasn't a very nice world to live in. So by meditating, by connecting with what is, what truly is happening in this moment, it was actually a much better place than the place that my mind was constructing. Sometimes that meant sitting with difficult emotions that I wanted to avoid. But emotions that were there, emotions that were in my body, that my body was experiencing, was having all sorts of physical symptoms, because I wasn't processing the emotions I was feeling and the stress I was feeling. Sometimes sitting just meant offering myself compassion rather than criticism. I don't know if you like me, I've suffered a lot with self-criticism, with feelings of low self-esteem and low worth, and actually by sitting with those feelings and offering them compassion over time, slowly, the feelings started to subside because they'd been heard. I feel like if you don't respond to your feelings, if you don't listen to your feelings, then what happens over time is that they start screaming at you. And that can lead to all sorts of challenges that then make things even worse. So I've been meditating now for about 15 years, on and off. initially drawn to meditation through the work of Thich Nhat Hanh and people like that. Read a few of the books and started to meditate. And then was drawn to the teachings of Michael Stone and the Awaken the World podcast, which has been a real source of comfort and education for me, to the point where I did a course a couple of years ago as a mindfulness meditation teacher through the Michael Stone Foundation and worked with them on my own practice, which I'll probably do another video about another time, because that was an interesting course. Just having that discipline to sit every day for quite a long time as part of the training. So the other thing I do is I teach science. I'm a science teacher. I teach biology and physics and a little bit of chemistry. Not a huge fan of chemistry, sorry. But I teach those, and so I know that meditation is not magic. It's not a magic trick. It's based in neuroscience. It's based in understanding of cognitive science, and the more that I'm learning about that, the more interesting it is to me that it's working with the way the brain actually is, not trying to trick us into anything, not trying to force us to believe anything or to adopt an ideology. But mindfulness practice and meditation is a way of working with the brain, working with your consciousness. And as we do that, things begin to calm. So, as a science teacher, I know meditation is not magic, but it can feel like magic sometimes because it can alter the way that our brain responds to stress. It changes the habitual pathways, the way that we've adapted and grown. And through meditation, and for myself, through therapy as well, I had quite a lot of therapy when I had my bad time a few years ago. And through that, I realized how much of my neural processes, how much of my pathways were just adaptations. They weren't the way it had to be. And by meditating, you can kind of put a pause in that and notice it. And like a lot of things, when you notice something, when you name it, it loses its power and it can become calmer. I just wanted to do a short video today because I thought it's useful to talk a little bit about why I'm doing the channel. So this channel is not a faceless YouTube channel with automated AI meditations and AI music and all of that. It's just me. This channel exists for people like me who are busy, who are everyday meditators, who have all the usual stresses and strains of life. If it's more than that, then seek help, find therapy, find a good therapist. There's lots of good therapists out there, so find one. I did. I stalled for about 40 years and eventually found a fantastic therapist to work with. And through that and through the meditation practices that I'm sharing with you on the channel, it's made a real difference to my life. It's made a difference to my parenting. It's made a difference to my work life. It's enabled me to enjoy things like this. Just a simple walk in the woods without fear. So the practices on this channel will be grounded in science, grounded in real life. They're not magic. There'll be some simple practices and some more complex ones. There'll be calming practices. There'll be more challenging practices, working with emotion. But there'll also be all grounded in a sense of mindfulness and compassion. Because fundamentally, when you look through the eyes of compassion at yourself, that's when the real, dare I say, magic starts. and you start to hold yourself gently, and you start to love yourself and take care of yourself as you would take care of your kids. And that's something that's taken me well over 40 years to learn. So I've stopped now. If this sounds like you, then drop me a subscribe, follow the channel, and try some of the videos, try some of the meditations. Let me know how you get on in the comments. If you've got anything that you would like to see or like to have more of, then let me know in the comments. If you like the blog video that I'm doing now, more kind of personal video, then let me know. Pop it in the comments. And just remember, however stressed you are, however life can appear overwhelming, your breath is always there. Your in-breath is always there, guiding you home.